Hey guys, hello and welcome. And today we will learn about the most common question asked in interview. So have patience with me, and so we will start here. And yes, I will mark some of them. So wait for a while. First, let me open this Epic Pen also. Okay. So hey guys, welcome you all. And as you see here is we're gonna discuss about most common questions asked in interviews. So here is our PDF, and we're gonna read it for you. So yes, have patience and don't worry, we'll be with you, and I hope you will crack it. Don't worry. Just a game. You have to answer some questions and you will be get selected. That's all in this, right? So before we move on, we first check that whether we can. Yeah, right. I think if I'm not wrong, yes, let me get great. Once a minute. Let me start also my graphics tab. Fine. Now I think it will work. Now it's working. Okay. Okay, fine. So here are the few questions we're gonna discuss about what is an electric traction, what is an electric traction, and then we will learn about the question around 150 questions is there in the list. Around 150 questions are in this list, and we will go through one by one. So have patience and be with me, bear with me. So we will go through one by one. So what is an electric tractions? First questions is asked. Now electric tractions is a very good stuff. First is this is the the you first have the knowledge of basics, and otherwise you will not able to answer even the answer them okay properly. So have some good enough basics understanding. Otherwise it will may be a very difficult for you. But don't worry, I will explain you all with on behalf of me. So have patience. Okay. Okay, fine. So what is an electric tractions? Now electric tractions is mean using the electric power for traction system. For example, like railways, for railways, terms and trolley, etc. Electric tractions means use of the electricity for all the above machines. Nowadays, magnetic tractions is also used for bullet trains, and basically DC motors are used for electric traction systems. So DC motor are used for electric motor system for traction system. So what traction means? Traction means that using the electric power for traction system, traction transportation systems. We can say this way. Mostly that railways, trams, and trolley. Those are the transfer something, right? Okay. So what can you start up the 40-watt tube light with 230-volt AC DC without using any choke or coil? You know, we see a lot in our home nowadays. We have LED, but before that we had this kind of tube light, right? That 40-watt tube light with having 230-volt AC or DC. Mostly AC is there, but without any chokes is very rare to see that time. Nowadays we don't have choke, right? So it is possible by means of electrical choke, by means of electric choke. Otherwise, it is not possible for to ionize the particles in tube light with normal voltage. So basically what choke does, choke help to ionize the particles in that tube light, right? In tube light we have a few amount of gases, and so in tube light we can't no ionize with a normal voltage. So it is possible by means. Okay, and what next? What is the PU in electric engineering? In electrical engineering, okay. So PU in electrical engineering means PU stand for the per unit, right? So we have a 10 kilo. Per unit charges is there, right? Where while we go, if you go through with your meter reading, monthly meter or after 3 months you have electric bill, right? Electric bill, you will see this kilowatt per hour, this kind of units, as well as per unit is like pu. Fine. So here it is that pu. So pu stand for the per unit. This will be used in single line diagram of power distribution, and it is like a huge electric circuits with number of components: generator, transformer, loads with different ratings in megavolt, ampere and kilovolt. So to bring all the ratings into common platform, we use this PU concepts, per unit concepts, in which the general latest MVA and kV ratings of the components is considered as base value. Then all other components ratings WI get back into the basis. Those values are called as PU values. So PU actually values per base value, values per base value. Okay, operational circuits. Fine. What is operational circuits? Now the water is obtained in the boiler, and the coil. Hey, wait. Operation carried out in a thermal power station. Okay. The water is obtained in the boiler. First, let's ask the questions. Operation carried out in thermal power station. What the water is? Okay, tell me about the operation carried out in thermal stations. How it's carried, right? The water is obtained in the boiler first, and the is burned. Coal is burnt. We see in a somewhere we have some amount of water in that, right? And fire is being placed here. So right, and the water is boiling. Fine. And this steams is allowed to hit the turbine. So some turbine is and it's bring it with a pipe to the turbine plates. If I'm not, I'm sure about it, right? So here is the turbine plates, you can consider as it is, right? So the gas is so it will rotate like this way. Okay. So yes, that's happened. So boiler pressures hit that turbine, and the turbine, which is coupled with the generator, generates the electricity. Fine. what why link is provided in a neutral of an AC circuits and fuse in phase of an AC circuits? you know why link is provided in nature in neutral of an AC circuits? Be very careful. Why link is provided in a neutral of a AC circuits, and fuse is placed provided in a phase of an AC circuits? I hope you understand the questions. Neutral and phase. Neutral in AC and fuse in phase of an AC circuit. Link is provided at a neutral common point in the circuit from which various connections are taken for the individuals control circuits, and so it is given in a link form to withstand high amperes. But in the case of fuse in the phase of AC circuits, it designed such that the fuse rating is calculated for the particular circuits. Example loads only. So if any malfunctions happen, the fuse connection is in the particular control circuits alone will blow off. So fuse help to protect the systems. What is the difference between the electronics regulator as well as the ordinary regulator? Re-hosted regulators for fans. So we have both. We saw both kind of regulators in our daily life. You will see them also. Okay, Okay, fine. So why is link is in a neutral of, I already told that. Now, mhm. What is the difference between an electronic circuits, electronics regulator, as well as the, what is the difference between electronics regulator and ordinary electric rheostat regulator? So we saw in the past we use this ordinary electrical rheostat, this regulator for fans, right? So why we use this? So you will see a fan is there, right? In the ceiling, fan is moving, right? It is in the wall, it's hang with the S, fine. But another board, you will see the regulator is in the box, fine, where you will see this kind of regulator with which we can control the fan speed, fine. So the difference between this is the electronics and ordinary electric rheostat is that the electronics regulator power loss are less, because as we decrease the speed of the electronics regulator, as we decrease the speed of an of the electrical regulators give the power need for the particular speed. But in case of ordinary rheostat type regulator, the power wastage is same for the every speed, and on power is saved. So whether you play the whether you move, increase the speed or decrease it, it consumes same power in ordinary rheostat, but in electronics it will save your power. So and no power is saved in case of rheostats, uh, ordinary rheostat. So in electronics regulator, tri-AC is employed. Tri-AC Triac is employed for speed control by varying the fearing angles. Okay, varying the fearing angles, speed, and it is controlled. But in rheostatics, control resistance is decreased by step to achieve speed control. How to how tube light circuit is connected and how it works. Okay, so this is a tube light for sake of argument. Okay, and here is 2, here is 2. Okay, okay, first is deleted. uh, let's suppose this is an electric tube light. Okay, it have a 2 diagonal side here, and it must be connected with, one is with choke. Okay, one is with choke. Okay, mm, hmm. Another is in the board 1 and 2. Okay, if I'm not wrong, then let's see how tube light circuit is connected and how it works. A choke is connected in one end of the tube light, and the starter is in series with the circuits. So where we was, for example, this is our tube light, this is our tube light. Okay, what it said tube light with the okay, a choke is connected in one end of the tube light. So here is our C for choke, and a starter is in series with the circuit, and a starter is in series with the circuit. When Okay, so let's connect the circuit first. And when supply is provided, the starter will interrupted the supply cycle of AC. Due to the sudden change of the supply of choke will generate around 10,000 volt. How much? You see, 10,000 volt, and his volt will capable to break the electrons inside the tube to make electron flow. Once the current pass through the tube, the starter circuit will be out of the part. Now there is no change supply cause choke voltage normalize and act as minimize the current. What is Marx circuit? It is used with generators for changing a number of capacitor in parallel and discharge them in series. It is used when voltage required for testing uh, is higher than the value available. What is Marx circuit? Marx circuit. It is used with generators for changing number of capacitors in parallel and discharging them in series. It is used when voltage required for testing high voltage. Okay. What is encoder and how it functions? An encoder is a device used to change a signal such as uh, bit stream or data into code. The code may serve any of the number of purpose such as comprising information for transmission or storage, encrypting or adding redum, read, redundance to the input code, or translating from one code to another code. This is usually done by means of programming algorithm, especially if any part is digital, while most analog encoding is done with analog circuit. So what I'm telling is encoder, right? Encoder can code and decode. Encoder is a device used to change a signal or data into code. So for example, this is a sine signal. It can change into code. I hope you understand. Right, this is 10001 code. This is a variable signal, some up and down it's represent, whether 0 or 1, 0 or 1 doesn't matter. Right, you hope you understand. So this is what encoder act, and it change its size, signals to signal or data into code. The code may serve encoder, if we change the code into signals, then we need decoder. Fine, we need decoder. The code may serve any of the number of purpose such as comprising information of transforming or storage, encrypting or adding redundables, redundance in the input code, translating from one code to another code. This is usually done by means of programming algorithm. So we use programming algorithm, especially if there any part of any part is digital, while most analog encoder is done with the analog circuits. Okay, most analog circuits is used for analog decoding, encoding. Uh, okay, fine. Now, what are the advantages of speed control using 3 resistor? I hope you heard that 3 resistor help to speed control. What are the advantages we are looking for? Advantage number one: fast switching characteristics. Then MOSFET, BJT, IGT. So BJT and IGBT. Uh, as well as we have a low cost for speed controlling. We use thyristor resistor and higher accuracy. The accuracy level thyristor have, no other else have this kind of accuracy if we talk about the speed control. So advantages I told you: fast search switching characteristics, then other devices like MOSFET, BGT or IGBT, and low cost and higher accuracy. Okay, why human body feel electric shock? This is a very common questions and very general questions that need to be asked. If you are an electrical engineer, though, then you have to aware about the basic general concepts like tube light or LED bulb, or shocking earth earthing system, neutral phase, and this electric shocks, and what you will do in that emergency cases, like emergency, if you are and if you are an engineer, right? So you have to know that how to manage the disaster, right? Like electric short circuit is happen, so what you will do there? So that is what your prevention must be there, right? hmm. Okay. Unfortunately, our body is pretty good conductor. So the answer, now take the answer. Unfortunately, our pretty good. Wait for a while. Unfortunately, our body is pretty good conductor for for conducting of electricity. Okay, so this word is very important. Good conductor. What is good conductor? Which can flow the current faster than anything. The golden rule is current takes the lowest resistance path. Current always take the lowest resistance path. Who have the more resistance? I mean, current will don't choose them. Current will choose the lowest resistance, who have the easiest path to flow their current or electrons. So the lowest resistance path is been chosen. So if you have insulator or our feet, like high resistance is the infinity number of resistance is plastics, wood, those are the high resistive. Okay, it have a infinity resistance. So uh, current will not flow using that, like insulator. So I have an insulations to our feet as the circuit is not complete. So if circuit don't complete though, then current flow will not happen. So wearing a rubber footwear which doing some wearing a rubber wearing a rubber footwear which is doing some repairs is advisable, as our footwear is high resistance path not match current flow through our body. So the electric train is well insulated from its electric system. So I hope you got that point, right? Uh-huh. What is the principle of motor? So whenever the current, oh, sorry, uh, what is the principle of motor? You see motor, armature and all. Whenever a current carrying conductors is placed, whenever a current carrying conductor is placed in a magnetic field, its produced turning or twisting movement is called torque. I hope you understand. This torque is all about the principle of motor. What is the principle of motor? When a current carrying conductor is placed in a magnetic field, just like you have two magnets, one is north, one is south, and you place a current carrying conductor like this ring, right, inside this. Fine. So this ring will flow, will start move the direction, so that to stabilize is polarize polar poles, but this will flow the current, and turning or twisting movement is called the torque. So now we learn the torque, but where is that principle of motor? And this is the basic principle used in that motor actually to move. Why when birds sit on a transmission line, you see many times in a transmission line birds is sitting over there, right? Hmm? But nothing happened with them, but they don't touch the another neutral or phase, because this is not completing the circuit. So it is true that if bird touch the single on line, phase or neutral, they don't get electric shock. But if bird touch the two lines, then the circuit is closed and they will get electric shock. So if a human touch the single one line phase, then he get doesn't he get shock if he is in the air, not touching standing on the ground. If he is standing on the ground, then touching the line, actually ground also work as a neutral. So ground then touching the line is phase, and so line always, if you touching the phase line, right? If you touching the phase line, and you, here is the phase line, and you are standing here, and now you touch the line, and this is your ground is neutral, ground is always neutral. So the earth phase electric will carry from your body to the neutral, so this is a closed circuit, right? So you become the path of from the phase to ground, so current will flow and you will die. That's all. Game over. So standing on the ground, if he is standing on the ground, then the touching of the line phase will, he will get shocked, because the ground on what he was standing is like line, ground bed like neutral. Fine. In the most of electric lines, the neutral is ground, so most of the electric ground, so that means that human would who touch the line close the circuit between phase and neutral, he will get shocked. What mean by narrow by armature rotation? Okay, what is the meaning of armature rotation? Okay, the effects of armature to main flux is called armature reaction. The armature flux may support main flux of opposite main flux. What is this? What is mean by armature reaction? The effects of armature flow to main flux is called armature reaction. The armature flux may support main flux or opposite main flux. What happens if we give 220-volt DC supply to the bulb or tube light? Bulbs or AC are for AC are designed to operate such that it offers high impedance to AC supply. Normally, they have low resistance. When DC supply is applied, okay, the question is, we have a 220 to 230 volt AC current. Fine. Now, what happens if we supply 220 DC voltage? DC voltage, fine. So DC direct current, but AC have a sine wave, but DC have a direct, this straight line. What will happen? Let's see. Bulb for AC are designed to operate such that it's often high impedance to AC supply. It's offer high impedance to AC supply. Normally they have low resistance, right? When DC supply is applied due to 1 watt resistance, the current through lamp would be so high that it may damage the bulb element. So what will happen? Bulb will damage immediately. I hope you got that point. which motor has the straight torque, starting torque and starting current? DC motor. Which motor has high starting torque and high starting torque? DC motor, induction motor, synchronous motor. Okay, DC series motor has high starting torque. We cannot start the induction motor and synchronous motor on load, but cannot start DC series motor without load. So I hope you understand what is here gonna say. What we are saying here, that which motor has the high starting torque. Now which motor have the high starting torque and starting current? DC motor and starting current. Which, okay, first question is up to this line. Okay, up to this line. Okay, so high starting torque and starting current. Which motor? DC motor, induction motor or synchronous motor? Answer is DC series motor has the high starting torque. We cannot start the induction motor and synchronous motor on load, but cannot start the DC series motor without load. So we need DC series motor with load to start. Okay. Now we have, what is AC sir? ACSR. What is ACSR? As it said, aluminum conductor, steel reinforced. Aluminum conductors. This is a conductor, right? Aluminum conductor with the steel reinforced. The conductor is used for in transmission and distribution. You might see the wire that is used to transmit the huge current. In the transmission line, we saw a steel reinforced, aluminum conductor, steel reinforced. Okay. What is vacuum current break? Define the cause and where we use it devices. A break is normally used to break a circuit. While breaking the circuit, the contact terminals will be separated. At the time of separations, an air gap is formed in between the terminals. Due to exciting current flow in the air gap is ionized and results in the arc. Various medium are used to quench this arc is respectively Cb, but VCB, the medium is vacuum gas. Since the air is in Cb is having vacuum pressures, the arc in formation is interrupted. VCB can be used up to kilovolt. Vacuum circuit break. Circuit break versus vacuum circuit break. Break and circuit break. You need to go through that first picture and then you have to come to see and understand this. What will happen when power factor is leading in distribution of power? What will happen when the power factor is leading in distribution of power? If there is a high power factor, if the power factor is close to 1, power factor is close to 1 means loss in form of heat will be reduced to 0. Power factor is leading or distribution of power. What will happen when power factor is leading in distribution of power? High power factor reduce the losses and cable become less bulky and easy to carry. I mean, you can carry more power in a more current from the very small cable, thin cable. Cable can not be, no need to be bulky. and very cheap to afford. It also reduces overheating transformer. If we increase the power factor more, then the transformer heating will reduce, right? Heat due to many reasons, mechanical or reason are there. So we will finish up to 20 fine in this video. What is one main difference between UPS and inverter? UPS is uninterrupted power supply. Uninterrupted power supply. Where inverter is also giving that power supply. Now what is the difference between that? An electrical engineer and electronics engineering. Also the difference between electrical engineering and electronics engineering. Okay, we will deal with the both. First let's talk about the UPS and inverter. Interrupted power supply is mainly used for short time. UPS is used for a short time. It is it uninterrupt the power supply. Fine. Whenever like you got power cut when happen, so it will continuously supply the power even the power cut is happen. But so there is a circuit, right? So circuit first pass the electricity when there is no power cut. But when there is power cut, circuit is used that battery to transfer the power and it continuously supplying them. But it is important because of some system is running, right? If system get off, then it will not work, right? So we need UPS for that purpose. But main according of inverter is what? Inverter give the supply after power cut. So means according to the ups voltage, it is a backup, voltage backup. And UPS is also two type. One is line or another is offline. Line UPS having high volt and ampere for long time backup. With a high DC voltage, but UPS start with 2 volt DC with 7 lamp amperes with 7 amperes. But inverter is started with 2 volt 40 volt DC to 30 volt 36 volt DC. 2 volt to 36 volt DC and 20 ampere to 80 ampere battery with a long time backup. Okay, there is no difference between the electrical and electronics. Electrical engineering basically they deal with the heavy power, but in like more than kilo heavy power means more than 12 volt. In electronics we use I think 2 to 12 volts in range between up to 36 volt, 36 I think highest. So you will not get shocked in electronics components, but you can get shock in a electric components. So our charger, battery charger, right? Phone chargers input when you give a charge, plug it into that board, switch board. That is an electric equipment, but the output is consuming by the phone. So phone is an electronics equipment. It is below 12 volt or approximately 12 volt. So last is what is two-phase motor? The two-phase motor is a motor with the starting winding and the running winding have a phase split. Example AC servo motor. When the auxiliary winding and the control winding have a phase shift of 90°, that is two-phase motor. Okay, thank you for watching and don't watch again. I've done very bad in this video. I'm literally telling you. So it take around 30 minutes or more than 30 minutes, I hope so. So don't watch and waste your time after, right? So it's almost how much, 40 minutes it take for 20 questions. I just read it for myself. And if you are watching, you have done this you completely watch this video, then thank you. uh, and don't give me slang words, and keep watching. And I am trying my best. I'm uploading this video and doing my videos. So subscribe me. In future I will make more quality content that will help you in this world as well as in the hereafter. Don't worry. So you will get a long term rewards. And I'm keep trying. This is just a starting journey, and I don't know where I will reach, but I will reach somewhere. So thanks for watching, and keep watching, and don't forget to subscribe and share and read them again and again. Before you go for an interview, go through once your books and read the short notes, as well as prepare the basic questions, right? This will ask that ask generally. So thanks for watching, and keep watching. Bye bye.